We are back with another episode of Middle Age Mamas. The gang is here. Woo-hoo. And you guys, we have another Dawn at the table. Dawn is a fitness guru. She's all about nutrition, and we're going to get her take on all things middle age fitness. And she's also, you guys always hear me talk about my sister Tina. She's one of Tina's besties. And Tina's actually in the house. Say hi, Tina.
Hey, y'all. My sister's our live studio audience.
Yeah, our live studio audience. Tina stopped by. So let's start with some bad habits. We haven't hit on that in a while. What you got? Oh, you know what I wanted to know, Dawn?
Uh-oh.
This
yes.
Dawn?
Yes.
Okay, so Dawn Smith.
And you're saying it wrong.
Dawn Smith.
Yeah,
since I have known her, I've just said it without thinking of it. Just Dawn, or I don't know how I've said it. But since we started the podcast, she has corrected me anytime I say it incorrect. So are you a stickler for Dawn versus Dawn?
Dawn. There's a W in my name, and I'm not a boy.
Hello.
So do you correct people, or how do you get through that?
It depends. I mean, my biggest pet peeve would be I don't go to Starbucks anymore. That's a whole nother discussion. But prior to October 7th, when I went to Starbucks, there I said it. When I would go to Starbucks and they wrote DON on my cup, I would always say, "Do I look like a boy? I'm not a boy. DAWN is my name." Like that bothered me. When people pronounce it wrong, it just depends. If I'm never going to see you again, I don't care. But if you do it repeatedly and I know you, it's like, no, it's Dawn. But most people say it close enough. I mean, the New Yorkers, they always get it right because it's Dawn. So they
Dawn. Think of it as New York. Yeah. When I think too hard, I mess it up even further. So I have to find that right balance. Lately, I've been doing good, but today, I guess there's
a W.
I failed today.
There's a W.
Dawn.
But you say it just fine when you say, "It dawned on me."
I know, because
But then you'll say, "Dawn is here with us today." I'm like, what the hell? No, I'm
she
not.
makes me feel like I'm the only one in the world that does
you're
it.
not.
No, it's a lot of people say it.
Okay. Note taken. Okay, so other than my bad habit that I just said, calling Dawn, what you have, Dawn?
What you got, Don? I like to sleep in to the point where I'm almost late for work every day.
Really?
It's It's
the last drop of sleep.
Awful habit, but I love my sleep, and I pride myself on how fast I can get ready. Even if I'm going to be late for work, sometimes I will snooze until...
How many snoozes do you get?
I can do 3 snoozes.
Wow. Oh, that's not bad. What's that, 24 minutes?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you set your clock 24 minutes early?
Oh, no.
To compensate for that? No. Now, do you do everything at night?
No.
So you have in your head what are you going to wear? Because that's the biggest thing is trying to figure out your clothes.
Yeah.
Dang.
Do you take a lunch?
Oh, yeah, you have a whole routine.
Do I pack a lunch?
Yeah.
No, not necessarily.
Oh, so you just get up, get dressed, and get out the door?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
How late are you?
I'm usually getting there like right on time.
Okay.
Yeah. Or a couple minutes late. Nobody's checking for me like that.
Yeah. Yeah, what is the proper, when you've been in a job for like 5 or 6 years, don't you feel like you should have at least a good grace period? Or do you guys still stick to 15 minutes early when you're like deep into a job?
Ooh, that's a thing? 15 minutes
early?
Yeah,
that's a thing.
10 minutes early.
Yes. The only reason why I'm saying that is because the kids in sports, they are teaching them now that everything is 15 minutes early. So last week, they had a 6 a.m. practice, had to be there at 5:45 a.m.
I was asleep. I didn't even hear my husband get up.
I mean, because just think about it. When you're going for another job, that's one of the questions that they might ask you about your timeliness in getting to the job. Are you going to say, oh, well, I've been there 20 years, so I'll just get there right on time, or I'm 5 minutes late usually?
But who's going to say that they're 5 minutes late?
Yeah, right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, well, my point was to say that being on time
it still stands.
Still, it's still a thing.
My dad used to say, you know, as black folks, you know, if you are on time, you're late.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. But when you've been at a job for so long, are you still that eager and punctual to come 5 minutes early?
Probably not.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you still try to make an effort to do it?
Yeah,
to be
get
there on time
at the time, not early. So if you're supposed to be
right
there
on time
at 8, you're there at 8.
No, I don't go anywhere early, and I think
you don't go anywhere. You showed up today early. Thank you.
No, I was right on time.
Oh yeah,
but I also think if you're on time or if you're early, 15 minutes early, that's inconsiderate. Depending on where you're going. If you're coming to my house for lunch, dinner,
and you're 15 minutes early,
if you're early, white people might do that. But black folks, don't be coming to my house early because I'm not ready.
You're going to be part of the setup.
I'm going to still be in the shower, and my bathroom is right by the door. You're going to hear me. Water going to be running. You're going to be sitting out there with the kids. Pepper going to jump on you. No.
I'll be out there in a minute.
I'll be there in a minute. Don't come early. That's inconsiderate. Unless you're trying to work.
Yeah, there's always those reels of people showing up early for black stuff, and they're part of the put together committee. Come help me with these chairs.
Put to work.
Yeah, if you come early, that's true. That's true.
I do appreciate when people come a little late if they're coming over because I'm always, unless it's something that we got to get going, obviously, but. I could use an extra 15 minutes always.
Because I was on time today, and I walked in, and you were still in your pajamas. The hot comb was out. I was like, "Am I
That's
early?
rare. That's rare."
I was like, "What's going on? You look like you was in pajamas. Hair was in clips, and I'm looking like, had I known we wasn't going to be on time, I really would have been late."
That's rare. That never happens. But yes, today it happened.
I really thought something was wrong. Like when I saw a hot comb. And the fire lit. I said, "What I walk in on?"
I did exactly opposite. I was on the freeway yesterday. Like there was an accident. I was like, it was like you're gonna get there at 3:59, 4:01, 4:02. I was like,
oh yeah, she thought it was yesterday. Yeah,
I was like, I hate this. Yeah, so I was so early. I was 24 hours early.
Yes, you were. Okay, what's your bad habit? Do you have any?
Oh God, I have so many. I take home stray kittens.
I have one. You can have Pepper.
I have enough.
Oh,
how many do you have?
Right now, I have 2 that are mine: Loki and Shuri. They're named. They're named after Marvel comic characters. And now I have T'Challa, who is a 3-month-old Black Panther looking kitten, and he's a foster. Except I think I want to keep him. So I don't know. Like that and like I've never met a donut I don't like. That's not true. There are some bad donuts, and I get really angry when I have them. So yeah, and unlike you, I get up early because that's my job. So my bad habit is I love to read. And so I will get into a good book, and I really should be turning the lights off, and I'm like, okay, one more chapter. One more chapter.
Oh, that's good.
That's
I love to read.
That's probably my bad habit. Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
I have like 2 things that I really need to break. One, I sometimes sleep with the lights on.
Well, we know because you're
lamp.
scared of the dark.
I don't like the dark. And then
it's so bad for your circadian rhythm. I couldn't hold that in.
Well, I end up turning it off, but I fall asleep with it on, and it's not like the overhead light. It's like my lamp, my side lamp, but yeah, it's still a light on. But I eventually turn it off,
which means you have to wake up.
Yes. Well, when I wake up to go pee or something like that, I turn it off. And then a bad habit that I'm trying to break, or that I'm almost there, finished breaking it, is yelling through the house at my son, like to call him to come here or do something to do that. I'm trying to reverse that.
No, that's good. No, Don, yesterday our boys had a football game and Landon was at the game. And so I was like, yeah, I saw Landon at the game the other night. She was like, I know. I texted him to bring me a popsicle and he wasn't even in the house.
I was so disappointed.
She texted to bring her a popsicle.
See, those are the benefits of kids.
I know. And then I sent my daughter a text, and then she apparently was the one that took him to the game, so she wasn't there either. So I had to get up, get my own popsicle, And then when she got home, she brought me the popsicle, and my husband was like, no, it's okay, share it again. But I said, nah, let me have that popsicle.
What kind of popsicle?
I had a pineapple one first, and then she brought me mango.
Okay.
And they were small. It was like the skinny one. I was like, I can take another one. It was little.
Okay, that's so funny. All right, so let's get into it.
Okay.
So, as middle-aged women who are constantly chasing fitness goals, it is not easy. So, we need to pick your brain as women now, not necessarily the 20-year-old that just wants to get a quick little six-pack, but what are women doing in their middle age, over 40, to stay in shape? What's like the first thing that comes to your mind?
So the first thing that comes to mind, and this is age regardless. Muscle is longevity. Period. Full stop. It is tied to so many different things. It is the primary glucose uptake. Like it is really what pulls sugar out of your bloodstream. Muscle is your body armor. So for instance, when I was at Equinox, I think this is a great example, so I like to use this. She wasn't my client, she was a client of a colleague of mine. 67 years old, I think at the time. Loved to bike through Santa Monica Mountains. Anyway, she had a really bad fall, scraped, road rash, the whole bit. Whole side of her face, shoulder, arm, leg. 67, week and a half was back in the gym. Now she still had, she needed the vitamin E, but she was back in. Somebody who doesn't work out, that's a break. And so while, so you break a hip, you have a 10 to 30% chance within the first 3 months of dying, blood clots, whatever else, within 6 months and a year, that I don't know those exact numbers, but like you break a hip, you increase your risk of death.
And are you talking about as an older woman?
Person,
oh, okay.
Yes. And part of that is due to your recovering. Like a lot of people don't recover from that. So then you are in addition to being disabled, like you're not moving as much. So then that just compounds on it. Muscle helps with balance. So again, keeping you from falling, coordination. It's muscle drives metabolism. The mitochondria stored in your cell is the powerhouse of the cell. So, it just does so many things. So it's, you have good muscle composition on your body. And now you can also have good muscle composition and high body fat, or you can.
I think I have that.
Yeah, but that's a thing. You can have muscle and it can be poor quality muscle. So I like to refer to it as Wagyu, like it is muscle infused with fat. And then if we want to start talking about the semi-glutides and all the people on the GLP-1s,
we want to hit on that.
That is a problem because you can be skinny fat.
What is GLP?
They're the
That's Ozempic.
It's
what?
What is it
Ozempic.
called? The Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro. So you see these people that they're referred to it now as Ozempic face.
Yeah, they're losing all their fat
weight so fast. Yeah, so for some people, and this depends on how you're managing your weight training, but people who are on these semi-glutides and the compounds, for every pound of fat loss, there's an equivalent pound of muscle loss.
Yeah. So they're encouraging people to lift weights and stay on that.
Because sarcopenia is now becoming a real thing.
Oh my gosh, you were throwing out all these terms.
So sarcopenia is the loss of muscle. Right?
Okay.
It is a loss of muscle. And so again, you're losing muscle.
But that's natural though, right? The loss of muscle over time.
Yes.
But those things, the Ozempic and all that stuff, it speeds it up.
It's speeding it up.
Yeah, it's taken away.
So now loss of muscle over time is real. So, after the age of 30, yes, you are losing muscle. That is a thing. But then you can also work on gaining muscle.
You can build it.
We can talk about
Okay, so
that's why weight training is
in our 20s, it was all about cardio and
that was wrong.
Yeah, and not so much weight training because you were scared to
even
be
at that young age it was wrong?
Yeah. Well, science, that's the thing about science. Like what we knew about science 20 years ago has changed.
Okay.
Right? And what we will know about science 20 years from now will change. But yes, cardio was the thing.
Right.
So what are we talking about? 20 years ago was
Zumba, like all of those classes,
Zumba,
high cardio.
I used to do 3-step classes because I wanted to be skinny. That was one of the best things. So I had an ex-boyfriend whose name shall not be mentioned. It's kind of like Beetlejuice. You just don't want to say it. But one of the best things about him was he taught me how to lift. Okay. He taught me how to be in a weight room.
Right.
And so then that's how I started training because girls were like, well, how do you get abs like that? Squat. Well, what about crunches? What about squat? Right. So we were doing cardio back then because that was the Jane Fonda cardio era.
Yeah.
But what we now realize is that cardio is one system in the body, the cardiovascular system, but you also have the musculoskeletal system of the body, which is equally, if not more, I don't want to say more, but certainly equally as important.
Right. So everybody was fearful of, bulking up and looking all big if you lift weights. And now that's not, people aren't worried about that anymore because they know that you lift, you just sculpt your muscles.
You don't have to be looking all muscular like that just because you lift.
Yeah. But back in the day, that's what people thought. So it was primarily cardio driven, all the classes, all the things like that. So now that's scrapped to the side and people are doing more weight training. But as middle-aged women, is that the focus now? Do you alleviate cardio altogether and just lift?
Still have a heart?
Yeah. So what's the balance?
So the CDC and the National Institutes of Health recommend 150 hours a week of moderate to vigorous activity. That's important, right? So vigorous activity means you're breaking a sweat. In addition to that,
I'm sweating.
I would recommend additional 3 already. That's too much. 3 additional sessions of weight training. Now you can work that in any way you want. Cardio is important. That's your heart, right? That's your vascular system, right? But muscle and resistance training is separate.
Okay.
Now, if you're doing a HIIT workout, which is high intensity interval training,
is that what that stands for?
It's high intensity interval training, meaning you are taking your heart rate up and bringing it back down. It's very efficient because you can use weights with that. So you can do,
weight reps,
squat, weighted squats, right? Weighted lunges, weighted whatever, right? And then rest, and then you can alternate that with some sort of cardiovascular activity, ropes, slam balls, whatever. And so you're getting a really efficient, and that's not something that you really need to do for more than 20 minutes. But you still want to do the weight training, and then slow, steady rate, which is like maybe going for a run or bike riding or a nice swim. That's important because that's cardiovascular, therefore it's more aerobic as opposed to anaerobic. Weight training is more anaerobic. And so that is teaching you're helping your body burn fat for fuel, and it's good for your cardiovascular system.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because those HIIT classes that makes you the rest of the day, you're still burning the fat, right?
Yes.
Once you...
Yes.
Like Orange Theory, they tell you get a certain amount of splat points, and then if you reach those, it's just a whole concept that one particular gym has. But you reach those points, and then you're supposed to burn fat the rest of the day, right?
So
you kept your heart rate
muscle
up.
is at rest, you're more than likely burning fat.
Oh, okay. So they just copied the natural science.
But the mechanism. So muscles store glycogen, which is sugar, right? So when that's why muscle pulls blood sugar out of the body and it stores it as glycogen in the muscle. I'm not going to get all into this because it'll bore people to death. There are 3 energy pathways in the body. So when you are doing something that is like a 100-meter sprint, right? That is ATP, that's why it's a 100-meter sprint and not 400, because you cannot maintain that speed for that long. Your body is going to, that's it, done, right? Then there's an intermediary, so weight training, and then there is aerobic, right? That's most of what you do during the day and running or whatever. So when you do high-intensity training or anything that causes you to deplete glycogen in the muscle, the body likes to be at a certain set point, whether that's weight, temperature, whatever it is. So when you exhaust the glycogen in the muscle, the body will spin and create an oxygen deficit. So we can also talk about, that's another thing that HIIT does, is that let's say you're at 100% oxygenation and you're working out, but before the body has a chance to come back, or the heart rate come back to normal, you hit it again. So each time, right, you are not coming back up to optimal,
100,
right, to 100, right. So the body likes to be at a certain set point. We call that homeostasis, right. It takes anywhere between 24 to 72, depending, but about 48 hours for the body to come back and reach that set point, right. In order to do that, it has to burn calories. Anything that your body does, whether it's blinking, eating, digesting food, whatever it is, growing hair, nail, that is a metabolic process. And so bringing the oxygenation levels back up in the body, restoring glycogen to the blood in the body, that burns fuel, basically. So you have an elevated period of time after you work out.
Okay.
So does that mean that you're only supposed, because it takes that long for your body to get back to its homeostasis, you should only work out so many times a week, or is working out 5 times a week okay?
So working out 5 times a week is okay. I talk to people, one of the things is it's, so why would you want to work out 5 times a week? There's lots of reasons behind that. Some people say, I want a 6-pack. Okay, well, if you want to look like an athlete, you got to train like an athlete. So you'd be working out 5 times a week. But no, with proper programming, and that's where a good coach comes in, you can work out every day. The thing is, you want to vary what your workouts are and what muscle groups you're hitting so that you're giving things time to rest. The magic doesn't happen when you're lifting. The magic happens when you're resting. That makes sense. Yeah.
Oh.
You all like have these blank. So
stop me. We're taking it in. I was thinking about what you said.
I have a question. With workouts, and so typically I'm taking a break right now, but with workouts, I used to work out. Optimal time for me would be like around 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay. What's the best time of day to work out?
The time that you can do consistently.
Oh, okay. It does. So it doesn't matter. Really, like if it's 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock, or 10 o'clock at night.
So because of my job, I have early morning clients. So I love working out in the morning because I like getting it over with, right? And then the rest of my day, like I know I'm done, my body's feeling good, but I rarely get to do that. So I'm usually working out midday, right? But honestly, like seriously, the best time to work out is when you can do it. Yeah. Now, some people say when they work out at night, they have trouble going to sleep, right? So I'm exactly the opposite. If I work out at night, good luck. I need to make sure that I'm working out close to home because I sleep good. So if you find that working out at night causes you to stay up, then I would say that's not a good time for you, right? But if you can only fit in a 40-minute workout during your lunch break, and that's the only time you have to get something done, then so be it. The best time, a really good time to work out is when you can plan to have a good meal afterwards. So that's another reason why working out at night, especially if you're trying to lose weight, isn't a good idea, because you do want to have a good protein meal after you work out.
And feed the muscles.
And that's a good time to have your carbs is right after your workout. So doing that at night isn't optimal. But again, it's better to do it whenever you can get it in as opposed to not do it at all, if that makes sense.
Now, is there science behind doing the same time every day?
You know what? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, because I've heard that from time to time, but I don't know how true it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I can look that up and get back to you.
What was your question? I'm sorry.
If there's science behind doing it at the same time every day. So like, every day at 5 versus Monday at 5, Tuesday at 10, Wednesday at 2.
To add to that, there's no physical advantage. Working out earlier is the best. It's the best time for your body.
I think it depends on what your goals are. So for instance, people like to do fasted cardio. That's great because you haven't had anything to eat and it's just purely aerobic. So you're burning fat and you don't, there's not a lot of sugar circulating in the bloodstream at that. But I don't know. I mean, there's even that research. There's now research because there's this whole thing about intermittent fasting and fasting in general.
That was my next question.
Yeah, there's a lot of research coming out, especially for women in their 40s about cortisol levels. And so no, you should have protein first thing in the morning because you want that muscle protein synthesis to take place first thing in the morning. So the research is still out on that. So I don't know. My honest answer is I don't know. But what I will say, and I know it to be true, that if the only time that you have to work out is in the morning, great, right? Most people find that to be good for their mental.
Yeah, because those endorphins get going.
Endorphins get going. The energy levels are going. You know that you've got it done. There's just the mental effect of feeling accomplished. You know what I mean? So all of that is great for you. But I would never tell somebody if you can't get your workout in the morning, then forget about it. Never. I would never do that.
What about with the eating and the working out? Because we had another trainer on the show who was a good friend of mine, and I used to work out really, really hard with her. And I love donuts as well.
Okay.
And so one day...
Well, the 2 Dons with the 2 Ds. Donuts with Don.
One day I ate a donut, and she was like, you might as well not even work out because you just spoiled... So what do you think about that? Like if you have a cheat day or if you have some junk, I thought I'm going to eat this donut, then I'm going to get it in. And I was going to balance it out. But she was saying no, that was not the case. That I might as well, if I'm going to have this donut, I might as well not even work out.
Okay, so I don't like to talk about other trainers.
Yes.
I don't.
Because she's not a trainer.
And I am evidence-based.
She's a friend.
I am evidence-based, period.
Okay.
So here's what I know. First of all, if you like donuts and I told you could never have a donut again, what's the point?
I'm going to eat all the donuts.
What's the point of living?
Yes.
And if I tell you you can't have something,
you want it even more.
Fixated on it, and you're going to want it even more.
Yeah.
So I never do that. In fact, when I first start working with people, a long time ago, there were two things that I did that I absolutely don't do anymore. I do not count calories ever, and I do not tell people that they can't have something. Now, we have a horrible problem with sugar and processed foods in this country. It is deliberate. I'm going to get political now. Yeah. But salt, sugar, fat, the food companies know what they're doing. They have known this for some time. It is deliberate. The phrase, you can't eat just one, is deliberate. Right? They know that the chemical signaling in the brain for salt, sugar, and fat is addictive. There are studies that say that sugar is just as addictive as heroin.
Yes,
and
for sure.
And I am a sugar addict. I'm one of those people. I can't keep cereal in my house. Sugar cereal, I do it during football season because that's my thing. I love a bowl of cereal and some sugar. And some
in the afternoon.
Yeah. But
that's funny.
But
no wings, just sugar cereal.
Love sugar cereal. But that's a bad
Super Bowl party with a bowl of cereal.
Dude, honeycomb, I'm good. I don't even want the ribs in the
80s.
Oh,
80s
honeycomb and Captain Crunch. I'm so happy. That's another bad habit. But my point is that so it would depend on what your goals are, right? Yeah. So if your goal is just to be healthy, there is nothing wrong with having a cheat day. Okay. And by cheat day, I really mean cheat meal. Yeah. Right? So there's no difference between having a donut or having a piece of pizza. If that's what you want, if you want to have, a glass of wine, that's fine. I mean, that's living. Right? Now, do you want to be in a bodybuilding contest?
Not with cheat days.
No, I'm serious, right? So now we're talking about no, there are no cheat days.
Right.
I know people who've done bodybuilding contests and they're cooking pasta for their husband and they chew the pasta to make sure that it tastes good, but then they spit it out.
Wow.
Right? It's very intense.
Wow.
And then there's varying degrees of that, right? So depending on what aesthetic you are looking for, if you want to be a 6-pack, you're probably only having that donut maybe once every 2 weeks. That's not part of, right? So if you want a 6-pack, if you want to be lean, that means that you want your body fat to be under, so for women, between about 16 and 18% is what you need to have your body fat at in order to have a visible 6-pack. Okay? Anything lower than 16% is not healthy. You start losing your period, whatever, right? 16 to 18%. You're not having donuts, right? You're not having alcohol once, maybe every 2 weeks or so. You are working out 5 to 6 days a week, right? If you want to have a flat stomach with, maybe a little bit of definition, you can do that donut maybe once every 2 weeks or so, right? Or so, right? But healthy, you can have a cheat day once or twice a week. My goal for most women who are just trying to be healthy is be healthy 80% of the time, and the rest of the time enjoy your life. It really depends on what your goals are and what if you're pre-diabetic and you come to me, I was like, well, I still want my donuts. I was like, okay, we can have donuts or death. It's kind of up to you, right? But it depends on what your goals are. And I'm just more realistic as I've gotten older, because some people are not everybody wants a 6-pack. Right? Like what you were talking about before, in the 80s, everybody was scared of putting on muscle, which I'll get to that too. So it depends on what your goals are. So if you're just trying to be healthy, then live your life.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think especially now we're in the culture of, people don't want to just let it all go. We still want to be cute in our 40s and moving into our 50s,
60s, 70s.
Yeah.
But I mean, health is so important nowadays, though, because health is wealth, and with your health, being great, you that prolongs your life.
1,000%. I know that's not scientifically correct to say 1,000%, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. So what other workouts are good? Pilates is very popular among middle-aged women. Is that something that should be done as opposed to weight training?
Not as opposed to.
Okay.
No, weight training is picking up heavy things and putting them down. Okay, that is weight training. And so it's like, well, are you training for hypertrophy or are you training for strength? Both of those things are important as you get older. You know, hypertrophy is just growing muscle. Strength is, that's when you start differentiating the rep ranges. But if you've ever seen an older person, I don't know if they can see this on camera, but if you've ever seen an older person get ready to get out of a chair.
Oh yeah, how do we not
and
do that?
Like rocking and trying to get themselves up.
Yeah, right? How do we not do that?
Hands down. Okay, versus
getting up,
standing up.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, that's
who stands
power.
up like that?
My mother stands up like
I'm
that.
I'm talking about that
But
good,
the
powerful
rocking?
way.
That's what I just said. My mother.
We all rock.
No, my mother can just get up. She can do cartwheels.
That's the problem.
Your mom does
cartwheels. She could drop it all the way down like Tina on her knees dancing. She's 70-something years old. So how do we make sure we have those strong backs and things?
So that's power.
Yes.
Power is the ability to generate.
She jumped
force.
on the trampoline all through the 80s.
Yeah, no, but that's power, right? Remember as little kids we could jump rope for hours.
Yeah.
Right? That's power, like being able to pop up out of a chair. We live in earthquake country. I tell everybody you should be able to do a pull up and a push up. Like that's that, you know what I mean? Like that's standard. Strength is, can you pick up that 42-pound thing of litter and bring it into the house without having to call somebody? Can you carry, whatever? Can you put your luggage in the overhead compartment?
Yeah, all those things. We don't want to lose that. So that's strength training because I'm strong. Like I'm a strong person. I can lift really heavy weight and all that. But getting up off the floor is now becoming a challenge.
That's
why is it people on the floor though? Because I'm around little kids all the time. Yeah. So when I'm on the floor, I have to think about like how I'm looking getting off the floor.
Are you
so
sitting
crisscross
applesauce and getting up from that point, or
I could be sitting different ways with my legs open, like, playing? No, just like using my hand as opposed to popping up. A chair is fine.
Well, you have to help yourself up from the floor.
No, you don't. I can feel myself getting ready to get up. Like I went to a baby class the other day and I was sitting on the floor with the baby and my leg fell asleep. So the whole time I'm like, oh damn it. If they ask us to get up and like move around and dance and all that stuff, I'm going to shake up my leg first. And then I was like, and then I had a dress on like an idiot. So I started like scooting to the side, shaking out my leg before. And then I methodically thought about how I was going to get up off the floor. Yeah. So how do we not do that?
That's strength training. I mean, that's.
But I'm strong on top, but is it the bottom?
Strong on top, but weak at the bottom.
Right.
Am I weak at the bottom?
We got noodle earthquake drill at my job the other day. There was an earthquake drill. We were supposed to do that drop, duck, cover. Yeah. I was like, nah, I'm not about to get under my desk.
She just sat there.
I was in my office by myself. I was like, nobody's gonna know. I'm not about to do. Then they're
just gonna pull you from the rubble
under the desk. Then I'm gonna have to figure how am I gonna get under. I didn't even do the earthquake drill because it was my knees, my hips. We did,
and we talked about it, and then we had
one. I survived. I wasn't trying to get under in there by myself. Besides the fact that I'm sure the floor was probably dirty, but I could not to get up. It was too much.
So how do we? So
let me add to that. And so older people, when they're just walking, is that not enough too?
No. No. Here's it again. Right.
We're not walking up a hill.
That's good. You should do that.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But just walking.
But that's cardio, right?
Okay.
Walking is good, right? That's why obese people, and by obese I mean a greater body fat greater than 30, like 35, right?
Okay.
Imagine if you are. So my other bestie is an OBGYN. So she sees people all the time. 350, right? 300 pounds, right?
Pregnant?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I mean, they're pregnant and they're 350, not like regular. Okay.
Maternal health, regular too, but and whatever.
Okay.
So the nurses have to pick 100-pound leg up on this side and 100-pound leg up on that side.
Yeah,
so if your eyes are like, if you were 300, your legs are each probably hitting close to 100 pounds. Wow. So when you're walking around, think about that. So when you're walking around, obese people usually have pretty good bone density because you got to 45-pound
heavy. I carry all of that
on this time, and a 45-pound of dog food on that side. And
your skeleton's carrying all of that.
So your skeleton is carrying all that around. It
wow.
does not mean that. So you might
so
be strong.
I mean, when you think about that,
really. But your muscle quality,
kitty litter.
I'm using real life examples.
You just reminded me
because
of
that's a visual, right?
No,
that's
she reminded me when I was pregnant with my twins each time, and people would look at me like I was from another planet because I had this gigantic belly.
Walking
but I was like,
around.
damn, my bones must have been on very strong. Because I just walked around like it was nothing, but I was carrying a lot.
You're
normal size,
but that's not healthy, right? It is not healthy to carry all that. That is a lot of work on your heart.
Yeah,
right. So so that's not. I mean, you've seen like it's just not healthy.
Yeah.
So okay, so getting up and down off of the floor, I have my older clients. That is an exercise that we do. Get down on the floor, get off the floor.
Like on their butt and then get up?
Yeah, no, really.
Well, I want to do it.
Like sit on your butt and then get up without the use of your hand.
If they can't use their hand, but think about it. I have one client who is 89, right? So
I think we should all do it.
She can use her hands. I don't mind, but like, what happens if she falls?
Then she can't get up.
How you gonna get up?
Yeah.
Right.
So what do you teach her?
To how to get up. Like literally how to get up, and we do weights. And so for somebody who's like, okay, so for my age, I'm squatting, I'm under a rack, right? And there are I have a 70-year-old who's under a rack, who is squatting. I have a woman she's in her 60s.
I love to weight train.
Me too. I really like to do it.
It's very fun.
It's great.
It feels like you're not even working out. You just feel strong. So
it's awesome. But I'm not going to put my 89-year-old client under a squat rack, right? But I am going to have them maybe hold on to a sandbag or hold on to something, and now sit down, stand up. Sit down, stand up.
So you don't have them doing reps with a certain amount of weight?
Absolutely. I have them
but to practice getting up. So how do we practice getting off the floor? Just sit down, stand up?
Sit down, stand up.
On the floor?
Yes.
But I do it every day.
So, but you probably need to do some of the other stuff with it. So they're not just sitting down on the floor and standing up. I have them on a stability ball. They're doing glute bridges.
Gotcha.
I have them on a stability ball doing planks. I have them on the floor doing planks.
What's the stability ball? The heavy
round?
Is it the heavy one?
No. The stability ball is the big round ball.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, that's good.
That you can sit on.
And you can you can do crunches on that one.
Crunches on that. There's all sorts of things you can do. So I literally have them walk out onto the ball, have their head and shoulders on it, drop their butt down and up, down and up. It's kind of like doing a leg press.
Yeah.
I will have them do leg presses. I have them do also single leg stuff. One side of your body is stronger than the other. That's normal, right? So you're not just squatting on one leg. I have them do single leg squats. So sit down on one leg, stand up on one leg. Sit down on one leg, stand up
that's
on
good.
One leg. Because one side is stronger than the other. When you walk, we're bipedal. So when you walk, and there are basic, it's called primal movement: squat, hinge, push, pull, rotational, right? You should be doing all of those movements at some point in time during the week during your workout, right? So you should be lunging sideways, right? This way. We don't just move in one direction, right? So many of us don't walk backwards. I have my clients walk backwards. My older clients, I have them walk backwards with their eyes closed. Balance, right? Can you stand on one leg with your eyes closed and lift a weight?
Oh, okay.
I mean, all the things that are challenging your proprioceptive reality, like your contact with the ground. So I have them do all of that.
Okay, so strength training.
Yeah, strength training.
That's good.
Now, Pilates is great for core. It's in intrinsic core. So getting into those deep intrinsic core muscles, Pilates is great for that, right? But you've seen your Pilates instructors. They have anything. If they only do Pilates. And same thing, and I say the same thing about cardio, right? The Olympics just passed. If you see what the 1,500 meter marathon runners look like versus track stars.
Yeah, it's different.
Let me just say I like the track stars. But you see, that's
the muscle mass
the
versus
muscle,
the
like
lean.
the muscle that it takes to move that fat. Yeah. That's muscle.
That's good.
Versus cardio,
you're lean.
So we basically, as middle-aged people, don't slow down because back, your 20s, I feel like you hit the gym hard, you were doing a lot of things, and now it's more slower pace, walking, things like that. So now it's time to turn it back up
you
to
need to preserve muscle.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
And at this age, it's a battle, right? Because just as we age, we lose muscle, right? Another thing that our muscles do is they're like an amino acid reservoir. So without getting too technical, there are 20 essential amino acids. 9 of them are essential. We can make the other ones. Leucine is really important, but the point is that our body, it's a reservoir. So when you get sick, right, your body needs those amino acids in order to heal you, whether it's a cold, COVID, the flu, you broke a leg, you were in a car accident, had surgery, chemo, whatever it is, your body is going to be pulling from those amino acid reserves. So the more muscle you have,
good.
If you skinny and get sick, that's not good.
That's really
especially
good.
As you get older,
so helpful.
Right?
Okay, what about she said Pilates, yoga?
Awesome.
How does that help you stay lean? Because can you go from larger to smaller doing yoga?
You can go from larger to smaller, but it's not the same as weight training. So all of these are different modalities. Yoga is awesome for flexibility, for mobility. Those are different.
And that would be like a recovery day type of activity?
That's a great recovery day activity. Yeah. Even some of the more power yoga stuff, right? Like depending on how fit you are, right? That's a great recovery day. It's also good for your mind. So
what do you mean by recovery day?
Recovery day. It is not hard to. It is not good to go hard all the time.
Yeah, you need a couple days.
Remember, I said like the magic happens during the rest. So if I go into the gym and like I'm doing bicep curls, right? Like I'm doing bicep curls. What I'm doing is, so you have the muscle fibers are actin and myosin fibers, and when they contract, they do this, right? As you work them over and over again, they kind of break down, right? So that's in the gym. Then you come away, your muscles sore, The magic happens when you come home and they repair. So the brain is like, oh, okay, if Nikita's going to do this, I need to make this thicker. So the next time she does this, it won't break down as quick.
Now, does that keep the crepey arms away?
Yes and no.
How does that come about?
So skin is different than muscle, right? Again, so you can keep the crepey arms away longer by having more muscle definition. So again, you'll see this with people who are on these GLPs. That all of a sudden they got loose skin, or you've seen people who have bariatric surgery and they have all the loose skin. So if you lose weight quickly and your skin doesn't have time to shrink at the same time, you'll have the loose skin. As we get older, we're going to wrinkle. The collagen fibers in our body just break down. That's going to happen. But the more you work out, the better you eat. Sugar, the body does not like sugar. Sugar and wrinkles, body doesn't like it. So the healthier you eat, I don't mean you have to exist on fruits, nuts, and berries, although it's not a bad thing. But it's, the more you can stay away from the sugar. But crepiness in skin, same thing with cellulite, same thing with varicose veins. Some of that is remaining fit, and the other part of it, unfortunately, is genetic.
Varicose veins is genetic, or
I mean, there are some people who get varicose veins and they work out and they still have varicose veins, and then
I usually go really, really hard in the beginning and then hurt myself. My dad was a bodybuilder and a personal trainer for years, so I know a whole lot. I just don't always use it. And so I shared about how I was training for a marathon with some friends. I did like 18 miles in 2 days, and then I couldn't walk for a week. So
that's bad. Look at her face. So bad.
It is bad. I already know it's bad because I wasn't able to walk. However, yesterday I started training with LA Road Runners.
Oh, awesome!
So now I'm training for the LA Marathon.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. With my friend Selena, she was on the show, and this time I'm doing it the right way. But what I thought was so awesome yesterday when we met, it was the initial meeting. There were so many older people. Like our pace leader in our group, this woman had to be in her 70s. It was amazing. And I was struggling almost to keep up with her. And so I I think what happens with me is my competitive nature.
That's me.
I get out there and I'm like, oh, she doing it, I can do it too. And I don't necessarily give myself that time to work up to it, but then I always pay for it later. So the importance of just being educated and having knowledgeable people around you to help you, because you get in there and it really is intimidating for a novice or for someone who has a big ego and wants to
run the show,
wants to show off, or you feel like, oh, I can do this, I've done this, and it doesn't matter if you haven't worked out in a long time to get in there and just beat your body up is not a good thing. So that's why I'm sitting here today, like able to sit. I'm not in pain.
Good girl, good. And good for
Did you hydrate the day before?
I did hydrate the day before. I did, yeah. And I know I talked about how when I was training that I wasn't taking a bottle of water with me because
and I didn't say she was doing the right thing.
I'm doing 12 miles, and so Camila was like, "Why are you doing that?" So I would drink. I would hydrate the day before and then after, because I didn't want to have to carry water with me, nor did I want to have to pee while
Is that
I was
the right
out.
thing to do?
No, if you're
To
doing 12
hydrate
miles,
before.
you should have water with you. And
With
you
me.
should have electrolytes in that water.
See,
12 miles. 3 miles, you're fine.
okay,
You know what I mean?
That's why I was probably hurting for a week.
Yes.
Yes.
But then also, you don't just walk out the door, and I'm assuming you did 18 miles in 2 days, so 9 miles in 1 day, and then 9 miles
I
next
did
day.
6 one day and then 12 the other day.
And how many did you do the day before you did the 6?
Maybe I probably walked at the gym on the treadmill for an hour.
And the day before that?
Probably walking for an hour, but I wasn't even counting the miles. I was just walking for an hour on
And
the
so
treadmill.
you said you was just going to go out.
And then I just went out to the Hollywood Reservoir and I was like, boom, 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 getting it.
So,
Getting it.
yeah. I mean,
She said no.
No, but like, I get
wasn't
everything
right.
she's saying. I'm so competitive. I also use running. Running keeps me out of jail. Like, that is so I do. I get it.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, so I will share, when my father passed, I was not good. And so I think I was running like 70 miles a week. Like, and wasn't doing the mobility work, wasn't doing the body work that I was supposed to do to maintain that. And I
Did you hurt yourself?
I ruptured my Achilles tendon. I have no tape. It's awesome. And so coming back from that injury, like my ego was like, nope, I'm still going to the track. I'm still going to do the Santa Monica stairs on crutches. Like because, my head wasn't right. So I get that. Right.
I'm in that bad head space too.
So that was triggered by, whatever. But it, fortunately, this is the good thing about having muscle on your body, because I was fit. I was able to go upstairs on crutches, which is stupid.
That's nuts.
So it was. I do not recommend.
Out by the Santa Monica stairs
yesterday. Do not recommend.
Wait a minute. You were working out with the crutches?
Oh yeah. I was doing single leg squats in the gym. I was holding on to the crutch and was still doing leg extensions on the other leg single. But again, and I would do all the gym stuff again if I had to do it all over again. But like, I would not recommend going upstairs just for the sake of going upstairs on crutches. Like that, no, that's not smart. Like, but like that's where now anymore. So then about 3 years later, I was in a really bad car accident. I got rear-ended by somebody going about 25 miles an hour, and I was at a full stop.
Oh, God.
I had 4 herniated discs in my neck.
Oh, my gosh.
I'd never had migraines before. Like, my sisters would get migraines, so I was like, stop being a little whiny bitch to take some aspirin, right? Oh, migraines. That's a different animal. Like, I didn't know. Like I can't smell nothing, see nothing. I don't want to hear anything. And fortunately, I found a really good chiropractor who was able to fix me without me having surgery.
That's great.
But same thing, that ego was like, well, I'm still going to go do stuff. No, you're not. Sit down. Right? And I had to keep sit down. And I had to like treat myself for the first time in my life. And I'm still, this is the difference between being 20 and being, our age, is that like, oh, I have to like listen to my body now. And so I was squatting, I think I was squatting like 195. I was deadlifting close to 300.
Wow.
I would go back into the gym and be like, okay, I'm gonna squat, no, you're not, sit down. And I had to learn that lesson. It was ridiculous. Like I had to learn it repeatedly until I was like, okay. And I had to treat myself like one of my clients. And I remember how humiliating humiliating and demoralizing. Like, it got to the point where I didn't want to work out because the stuff that I could do, like, I had to squat 45 pounds, which is just the bar. You know what I mean? Or I remember when I got to 85 and I was like, this is still nothing. Like, I beat myself up mentally because, and I had to that's the mind part. Like, the mind part of working out is just as important. And I had to get my mind right. About it. So you're doing the right thing now. I applaud you. The road runners are awesome. You're running a marathon. That is so cool. I will come support you. My marathon days are over. I will still do a half. I still love to run.
It's exciting.
I'm sorry, are you done?
No, I was gonna say too, what I say to myself is whenever I get injured when I'm working out, that is Satan hating on my sexy.
That's right.
You know? And then I just say, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, and then I go anyway, and then I get injured.
No. So you brought up
you have to recover.
Okay.
You gotta recover.
I want to ask you, because it's probably a part of this. So somebody that is like for myself, I have to take a break because I had a medical issue. I have to take a break until the beginning of the year.
Okay.
What is the beginning workout going to look like for me?
Well, I would assess you. I can't know that, you know? And I think if you have so let me say some things about trainers. When you get a trainer, they need to be certified. There's a lot that comes with being certified. There are good certs and there are not so great certs. I'm National Personal Training Institute certified, which that's an actual on hand. It's not on. I mean, I think they do offer online, but when I did my cert 20 years ago, like, you did 500 hours, 300 hours of theory, 200 hours of in-person training. Like, it's intense. NASM, which is the National Academy of Sports Medicine, is a great cert. ACSM, which is the Academy of National, what is it? It's ACSM, something of sports medicine. They're good. So you want a trainer that is certified. If a trainer just takes you into a gym and does not assess you, run. Your ability, no matter what it is today, is going to be different tomorrow and different the day after that. If your trainer does not program for you, cookie cutter programs, if what I do with Tina would be different with what I did with you, right? So I don't know until I assess you. There are things that I don't know what your medical issue is, or if you want to, but like, you can probably do mobility right now, which would be a great way to keep up things. If you can still
What's
walk.
mobility?
Mobility is like getting down on the floor and like 90s, which is like hip switches, like it's kind of hard. I can't really do it here, but like, it's like laying on the floor and like shifting your legs, right?
Oh, okay. Or like this.
Yeah, like shifting your legs, or like, taking a broomstick and just like opening up your chest so that you've got good shoulder mobility. Like, just opening. You don't have to.
So you don't get all stiff.
So you're not getting stiff. Like, I would do that. Foam rolling is great. If you know how to foam roll, that's great.
The foam roller, is it just for your back, or is for what is the foam?
All your muscles.
Every muscle.
The foam thing that you roll on the ground. Oh, okay.
But you're naturally strong and all that stuff. So I think cardio you have to build back up. But other than that, won't you just kind of jump back into it?
Well, I don't know how long you've had off or what your medical issue is.
Yeah.
But like, it's September, so we're talking about January. Is 4 months from now.
But she's not going to feel like she's never worked out ever.
No, well, the first day she might.
Yeah, like, because that's cardio,
and because I'm used to lifting weights, so I can't just go right back up 85, 100.
So even if you have bicep curls, let's say she was doing 25-pound bicep curls, right, today, right, and then didn't do it until January.
I'm gonna hurt.
If she could do 125 or 225-pound bicep curls, I wouldn't recommend starting with that. I would reduce at least by about 50%.
So what, 10, 15?
Yeah, do 10, right? See how you feel. Feel fine? All right, fine. Come back the next day, 12. I would do small increments, like 5% increments. You can come back up, right? I would stick within the hypertrophy range, so I would stick between like 8 and maybe 12 reps. See how you feel, because you want to put the muscle back on at that point. You could also do endurance, so you could do like maybe 12 to 20 reps if you wanted to start out and do even a little bit lighter weight, right? But I would not, if this is where I was in September, I would not come back in January and just go, okay, this is what I was doing. I did that. It don't work. It does not work.
That's not good.
It's not safe, and you're more likely to strain a muscle or just be so sore. Like, if you do that and like you're so sore that you can't get back in the gym, like it's Monday and you're so sore you can't get back in until Monday, then you're starting all over again the next Monday, basically.
Yeah. Do you believe in meal prepping?
Oh, 1,000%.
And then, is pork chops baked a good white meat to eat?
That's the blackest thing I've heard in a long time.
That's a real question.
The other white meat.
That's a real question.
Okay.
Or is pork horrible?
Okay. Bacon is the gateway meat, so I'm just going to be honest and say I eat bacon. I tend not to eat a lot of pork because...
And I don't either. That's just a question.
Yeah. Pork chops tend to be lean, and therefore I would say it's not horrible.
It's the other white meat.
Loin is not horrible.
Yeah, the center thin cut. I make those for my son because I really don't eat like pork chops like that. Yeah.
I'm not going to, no.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But meal prepping, always a protein, a veggie, and starch?
So here's what I do in the latest science. So first of all, women don't get enough protein. And the older you get, the more protein you need because absorption issues change and you need protein. So you should be eating 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. Now, I know that sounds like a lot.
So is it ideal for you to have a scale in your kitchen, a little scale, and weigh your...
I stopped measuring with my clients because most people don't have time to do that. So a portion size for a woman for protein is the size of the palm of your hand. Portion for starch is the size of your fist. You can have as many vegetables as you want. I ain't never heard of it. And fruit, because it is sugar, but there's so many good things about fruit. So every color, first of all, when you start talking about color in vegetables and fruits, each one of those is a phytonutrient. So on the spectrum, so like, you have beta carotene. Those are usually associated with like orange fruits. I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Anthocyanthina. But those are the purples and the reds, right? So all of that is good for you. So apples, yes, please have one. They have pectin, which is a wonderful fiber. It's a soluble fiber that pulls junk out. I've never heard of anybody getting fat off of apples unless there was Pido attached.
Green or red?
Whatever color you want. Green and red, yellow.
Don't be afraid of fruit.
Do not be afraid of fruit, but it shouldn't take the place of vegetables. Now, vegetables, you can have as many as you want. Go outside, graze. So my recommendation for my clients, I recommend 4 meals a day because if you can't do that, then we can talk. But I recommend
4 meals a day.
Small meals, not right? big old.
Because you want to give your body time to digest. So 4. If you can only do 3 is good. The problem with having a big meal is that your body's not like you're dumping all at one time. And you got to realize there's the motility of the gut. You want to have like all of that. So I don't recommend the whole 1 meal a day. But you want to have protein is the size of your fist. The size of the palm of your hand. A starch the size of your fist. We don't need that much starch in our diet. Like a lot of your carbs should be coming from leafy green vegetables, green beans, asparagus, broccoli, cauliflower. Like those broccoli, cauliflower, those have been shown to be really good anti-carcinogens. They're wonderful. So I would say carbs in the morning. So like if you do overnight oats, or if you do oatmeal in the morning.
Does it have to be overnight oats?
No, it doesn't. It can be regular oatmeal. I don't, it could be whole grain. My go-to is I love avocado toast.
Oh yeah, me too.
So I do like a whole grain piece of bread with like avocado, lemon juice, olives.
You put egg on it?
Sometimes. Sometimes when I'm in a hurry in the morning, I just have like 3 eggs and I'm out the door.
Yeah.
So
that's what I do in the morning, egg whites.
21 grams of protein. And then your second carb, so this is dependent upon when you work out. This is why I say like when you work out. So at nighttime, for instance, if your last meal of the day is after your last workout and you've had oatmeal in the morning, but you've been really good during the day, if you have like a half a yam and you had a really intense weight workout, that yam isn't going to kill you.
Yeah.
Right. But like generally you want to keep your carbohydrates for earlier in the day. And then the last meal of the day, big salad or like some steamed spinach or whatever. However, I love baked anything. So I bake broccoli. I bake cauliflower. It releases the natural sugars.
It tastes that. Is that why it tastes better?
Cauliflower. What's the other thing you said?
Cauliflower,
broccoli,
squash. It releases the natural sugars in it. So that caramelization that it gets when it's in the oven is why it tastes so good. Experiment with spices. So you can do the Mediterranean route. You can do the African route. You can do the North African route. You can do whatever, Italian. Like, just experiment with spices. But like, I put my vegetables. And so for meal prepping, like if you're busy, I do a big old jelly roll pan of vegetables every week. And I shove them in the refrigerator. Those can go on top of my salad, or I can just heat them when I get home.
After you bake them in the oven.
After the bake, I just put them in the refrigerator. I make a big old salad that lasts me like 2-3 days, depending. I have it in the salad because it's when you get home from work, and I often get home from work at 8:00 at night. So I am one of these people that ends up eating late. So I end up having like a piece of salmon and some a salad, or I love.
What's late for you?
I get home at 8:00.
8:00. So are you eating at 8:30 or 9?
I'm eating right when I come through the front door. Like I come through the front door, I feed the cats because if I don't, they'll kill me. So I'm usually sitting down about 8:30.
I'm just saying that's really late.
No, it is.
It's 8:30 or 9,
well,
or 8:32.
Even I try to be in bed by 9, and I'm usually trying to lights out. Like I try to turn off all electronics. That's good for your brain to turn your electronics off an hour before bed. So I'm usually trying to be going to sleep at 10. It's not ideal, but if I have a session at 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, right, and I'm done at 7:30, by the time I drive home, it's 8:00.
Because most of the time, I mean, well, you've heard that the earlier that you eat dinner is better for you, for your digestive system and all of that. That's why I was asking.
It is. I try not to do that, but if I do, what I am having is arugula, red leaf lettuce, some spinach, some baby kale. I don't use salad dressing. I do some lemon juice and olive oil. I love Trader Joe's. I'm all about ease. So all of those things come packaged. You can buy washed and packaged, all of those things. Yeah. Right? You can buy washed and packaged. Yeah. So I just dump everything into a bowl, mix it all up. I love the grilled artichoke, so I use the grilled artichoke olive oil. I pour that over with some lemon juice. That's my salad. If I'm home really late, I might do like a half a can of tuna fish, so I'm getting some protein in there, or even a whole can, depending on when it was the last time I ate. And that's my meal for dinner. Optimally, should I be eating earlier? But just because of what I do, sometimes I can't. But then I'm usually up till 10:00. So like
you have time.
Yeah. So I get home and I have to feed the cats, take a shower, clean the litter box, get my stuff ready for the next day. So I'm on my feet.
Yeah.
You saying that 4 meals a day is really kind of canceling out intermittent fasting.
So intermittent fast, like to me, if I get up and let's say my first client, like ever since COVID, I don't do 6 a.m.s anymore unless they're online. So that's the good thing. So usually my first client is at 7. If I go to bed at 10, right, I've been fasting all night. Right? And I try not to eat late. Like sometimes I do, but I try not to eat. So if I have time to eat earlier, like 6:30 optimally would be when I'm eating. Then let's say I have my last meal is 6:30. I've been fasting all night. That is
because you're not snacking and all that stuff.
So I know a lot of people have success with it. If you're trying to lose weight and that's working for you, I have a client who likes to do it. I would prefer she didn't, but if that's her way of getting it done, I'm not gonna fuss, right? All I ask is that my problem with like that 8-hour window of eating, or that 6-hour window of eating, and I'm still asking you to get in all of that protein, that's hard. Like you like walking around gnawing on a turkey leg all day long because I'm asking you to get in protein. The protein is really important. Fat is really important. The 80s got us all afraid of fat. You need that fat. I eat almost a whole avocado every day.
It's good fat.
It's good fat. You need fat. What we don't need is the amount of carbohydrates that we're eating. We only need, I think the current like scientific recommendations, I know, so there's different between what the recommended daily allowances by the FDA, which that's a whole nother, I won't even go there. The FDA requirements are old, and the FDA requirements are based on what was necessary for minimum baseline. They need to be updated. They need to be changed. And I'll just say, without getting too political, but we don't need the amount of carbs. And our carbs, there's carbs in everything that don't need to, like even things like peanut butter.
Because it turns into sugar, right?
Well, carbs are sugar. Sugar is carbs.
But in your body, it turns into sugar.
Well, you have an enzyme in your mouth called salivary amylase. So the minute you eat anything that is a carbohydrate, it immediately starts to break it down into a sugar. So it doesn't matter whether it's a lactose, a fructose, a glucose, like your body starts to break down sugar. That's why you should always have your carbohydrates along with a protein and fat. It slows down absorption because fat and protein doesn't break down until it hits the stomach. So then it's the acids in the stomach that start to break that down. So it slows down the absorption of the sugar. Your carbs should be high in fiber. That also slows down the absorption, and we don't get enough fiber in the American diet as well. So that's why I say whole grains are really important. Things like oatmeal or quinoa or beans are really good. Beans are a good source of protein, so is quinoa, but also know that those are going to be higher in calorie if you're trying to lose weight. So you're getting the carbs along with the protein, but it's not that they're bad for you. Just be mindful of that.
Yeah.
So we need more protein. We need good fat, right? But we don't need the amount of carbs.
And high fiber too, right?
And high fiber.
Yeah.
That's why, like, when you're eating the leafy greens. So when I'm saying carbs, I'm talking about starchy things like pastas.
Yeah.
Potatoes. And potatoes are not bad for you. That's the other thing. Unless they're fried, that's the whole... So that's what I'm saying. Like, even regular white potatoes, they're a great source of potassium.
Yeah,
they're not bad for you. It's the butter and sour cream and the bacon.
And if you're eating high fiber, do you need to take like Metamucil? Everybody's starting with the Metamucil.
Depends. If you're regular, no. But then if you are eating all this fiber and you're not regular, then that's a conversation you need to have with your doctor.
Metamucil keeps you regular, not necessarily gives you...
I don't take... so my understanding is that people need Metamucil because they're not getting the fiber in the rest of their diet.
Right. And not using the bathroom.
Yes.
So if you're regular...
You should be having regular bowel movements.
Okay. Guess we can end on that note. Get you some regular bowel movements and grab a pair of weights and hop to it.
That's right.
All you middle-aged mamas. Thank you.
Before I go, let me just say one more thing. Obesity rates in the United States, overweight and obesity rates in the United States are around 70%. Almost 50% of the country is pre-diabetic or diabetic. I have a saying that when America catches a cold, black folks get the flu, right? So all of those numbers that I just said for black folks, black women, pop them up. Black men in their 50s drop dead. Stroke is high blood pressure is the silent killer. Get your blood pressure checked. There sometimes are no symptoms, no warnings until you're dead. And maternal mortality and morbidity is for women 2 to 3 times more likely to die during childbirth. So all of these things will improve those outcomes.
That's really great. Thank you so much for stopping by and spilling all these gems. We really appreciate it.
Stuff.
Thank you.
Come back.
I would love to come back.
Yes.
And where can people find you?
I am referral only.
Oh,
has
okay.
been such an amazing thing. I am online, so I have clients in Atlanta, New Mexico, New York, San Luis Obispo.
Well, if you need a referral, DM middle-aged mamas, right?
DM or like I don't Instagram train because everybody's on Instagram train. And like I said, if I put a workout up on Instagram, that doesn't mean that Nakia should go do my workout.
Yeah, exactly. You're legit.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You guys don't forget to share and like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. You can find us on Instagram at 3